This is our very, very small distillery. Most distilleries are much, much bigger than this. Usually, different parts of this process takes place in different rooms, in different buildings. Here, everything takes place just in this one small room, from start to finish. So, small but efficient. One person runs the whole shift. One person per shift. We do 3 shifts a day, 24-hour day production, just about 7 days a week now. It's all good, and it all starts here with the grain. So this is the grain we talked about coming from the east coast of Scotland. We get it from the east coast because it's much higher in natural starch. We receive the barley already malted. We get malted barley delivered to us. There's very, very few distilleries now that malt their own barley. It used to be the case that you did it on site, but it's quite expensive. It's much cheaper for the grain supplier to do it for you. So that's what they do. They soak it in water. That water starts the germination process, that moisture. Germination naturally starts to convert the starch into sugar. That's for the roots and shoots to eat. Before the roots and shoots eat it, you dry the grain back out, trap the sugar in there, ready for us to use. So that's already happened. That's full of sugar now, really. And that's ready for us to use. So we take 2.5 tons at a time, we grind it in our mill, and all that white powder there, that's basically the sugar now, very accessible. This noise you can hear behind me, this is the mill milling the grist. We're storing the grist in this grist bin, and then 2.5 tons we drop into that mash tun, mix it with hot water, and start dissolving the sugar. Okay, we're going to create a very sweet. We're going to create a very sweet, sugary water. Okay, have a look in here. That's a new mash, right to the top here. That's just been filled. And now it's going to take about 4 hours for the water to drain through the grist, dissolving the sugar as it goes. And then it gets sent to one of these wash racks behind you. So it takes 4 hours to get from here into there. And then we store that fine, slightly sugary water in the brewing tank there, which then becomes this first 64-degree water to the next batch of grist. We recycle the last one that has the first water. And once we've finished with this 2.5 tons of barley now, that's dry. Just stand back from this one. You don't want to get too near that one. We'll just see what's happening. So we're now brewing a beer. This is a fermenting stage. We've added the yeast. The yeast are eating the sugar in the water, and as they do, they give off alcohol. So that's the whole point, we want to produce alcohol here. But they're also producing carbon dioxide. So all the carbon dioxide bubbles up to the surface and creates this big frothy head. In the one we've just looked at, the head is still rising. For the first day, the head rises very quickly, and it rises into the blade, which chops the bubbles back, keeps it down inside the wash bath. Otherwise, that froth would push the lids off and pour over the sides. We don't have to lose any. So now, this one is over a day old. The yeast have eaten all the sugar, there's no more food for them, so they're all dying off, and all the activity is dying back naturally. You can see all the bubbles have burst now below the blade level, and they will continue to die below the blade level until eventually they look like this. So the whole point of this fermenting stage is to produce as much good quality alcohol as we can through a good beer. Do this shortly and pump it right to the far corner of the room. The big tank in the far corner is where we store this beer. That's where we'll distill it from. We're going to try and separate the alcohol we've just produced in here from the rest of the beer. and that will give us our clear spirit. So we'll go to the stills and we'll see what they do. Right, so we've got our 13,000 litres of beer now. We take half of that, put it in the wash still for its first distillation. This is the same still that we saw down there. It's a much bigger version doing exactly the same job. Big copper kettle. We heat it up to 94 degrees. So that's not quite hot enough to boil most of the water. But it's more than hot enough to boil the alcohol. That's why we've got a low temperature. So the alcohol turns to hot vapor first, and leaves most of the water behind. Some water does go as well. All that hot vapor rises, crosses the line out, and now the hot vapor is hitting cold surfaces inside the wash condenser. So hot vapor onto a cold surface, turns back to a liquid, goes to the bottom, round the pipe, a little bit flowing through here. When this first appears and we first start boiling, it will be about 50%. So you can imagine 50% alcohol vapour, 50% water vapour, recondensing back into a 50% liquid. But then, because we're collecting the alcohol from the beer, there's always less and less to collect. So the spirit is getting weaker and weaker all the time. After 5 hours, it's down to less than 1% alcohol. So we know now that we've got all the alcohol boiled out of the beer, which is the whole point. And when that's mixed together over that 5 hours, it averages about 23%. So not strong enough for whiskey yet, but it's a good start from an 8% cloudy beer. It's called low wine. Goes down the pipe, under the floor, into another storage tank down by the window. Low wine. Yeah. We take that straight back out of that tank and put it in the spirit still for its second distillation. Most Scotch whisky is double distilled, but this time we're starting with that stronger spirit rather than this weaker beer. So just the same process. Heat the still up, turn the alcohol to vapour, cross the line out, back to a liquid, around the pipe to the back, and this bit flowing through here. When it first appears here, we will be on this side, into this bowl. And again, because we've got the most alcohol in there to start with, this spirit is going to be at its strongest again to start with, and then it's going to get weaker again. 75% when it first comes through this side, so pretty strong and very volatile. At 75% there are always lots of impurities with the very strong alcohol, like methanol. We don't want these impurities in the whiskey, so we run them off into this bowl. Just get rid of them. They're called foreshots, the impurities. We run our foreshots for about 20 minutes. It means we get rid of all the impurities and we get the strength down from 75 to 73%. That's the magic number we're looking for. When the hydrometer shows that we're at 73%, we will flip the lever across to where it is now and start collecting the spirit. Anything that runs into this bowl will become our whiskey. That runs in there now for about 1.5 hours, producing slowly in strength all the time. When it gets to 63.5%, that's us finished. We'll come back to this side, back into this bowl, and run off all the weaker alcohol right the way down to 1% again. Another 3 hours or so back into there. So, the half of the run, the spirit we're collecting, that's going down the pipe and into the small tank down by the window, the intermediate receiver. The foreshots and paints, the strong and the weak alcohols that we didn't want this time, are getting mixed back in with more low wine, so back into the big tank down there. So the constant mix of different strength of recycled spirit along with low wine is averaging about 27% in that tank. And it's the mix of spirit that we start the spirit to with each time. So it can come over and over and over again until eventually it gets into the cup, 73, 63.5. And because we're collecting between 73 and 63.5, we average, when it's mixed together, 68%. So this distillery, day in, day out, consistently averages the same 68% clear spirit, because we're doing the same thing all the time. So every distillery does the same thing. We all do it slightly differently, which means we're producing quite different whiskies, really. The big difference that we all have are the stills. We We all have these big copper stills, but they're all very, very different in size and shape. And it is the size and the shape of the copper that dictates the style and flavour of the spirit. So as you boil the beer inside, the copper is dissolving. And there are hundreds and hundreds of chemical reactions occurring between dissolving copper and alcohol. And all the chemical reactions have different flavours. So the size and shape of your still dictates the rate of each and every chemical reaction, and therefore each and every flavour that you create and collect. So different sizes and shapes of copper produce very different styles and flavours of whisky. We will create 1,500 litres of spirit, just over 10% of the beer that we keep the spirit. 1,500 litres of spirit, so just over 10% of the beer. Golden eagles that you saw on the video live on the rock face there. So they're a breeding pair of golden eagles that nest up there. That's our association with the eagles. We do what we're told. They've been there a lot longer than we have. The glen, or the valley below the crags, that's where our water is coming from. And the river is right in these big trees next to us here. So we're using over, you can imagine this, 400,000 litres of water a day. Wow, quite a lot. Lots and lots of water. Through the distillery, it cools things down and heats things up, and then we just send it straight back to the river. So it's a diversion for the river, in and out of the distillery, back to the river again. So we don't keep much, only what we brew the beer with. Okay. We've just produced in the distillery. That gets piped into this little building here. This is the filling store. So every Tuesday morning we fill just over 100 barrels with spirit now. Gives you an idea of how much spirit we produce every week. Just before we fill them, we dilute the spirit from 68 to 63.5%. It's basically been found by modern science to be the best alcohol by volume to create the best whisky. There has to be a best of all these things really, but it wasn't known in the past. Distilleries always put the strong spirit in the barrels thinking that was the best way. But now we know most distilleries do reduce whatever they produce in there down to 63.5, so they know they're going to get the best whisky. So that goes into the barrels go into the warehouses, and that's where they mature. At least 3 years to be called Scotch whisky. They have to be there. The single malt whisky is usually a lot longer than 3 years. The casks. 1 year. 1 year in an oak cask, it should look something like that. So that's 1 year of colour and flavour. But now it's down to 61%. So the barrels from the casks are sat in the warehouses and they breathe. That's what oak does best. It breathes out, we lose strength and volume. It just evaporates through the oak. As they breathe back in, we pull colour and flavour from the oak, from what's been in the oak before, and what comes through the oak. Our local atmosphere gets breathed in to help influence in different ways. Different atmosphere in Arran than other places in Scotland. So different influences. So that's 12 years later. So that's 12 years of colour and flavour. Okay, so that's the progression, and that's now down to 56%, 55%. So we've lost 8%. That's the angel shit. That's gone. But we've gained all that colour and flavour, and that trade-off has to happen. If you don't lose, you won't gain. It will just stay looking like that. Okay. So because every single barrel is doing it differently, you get a different quantity, a different colour, a different flavour, a different strength of whisky from each one. This is one that we bottle as a premium single cask. So all the numbers on the label here tell you what cask it came from, what strength it is, how many bottles we got, and when we've got 167. So we only got 167 out of one of these barrels. And when they have gone, when they have been sold, we will never ever repeat that whisky. The next bourbon barrel that we bottle will be different. It will be different flavour, different quantity.